Hold on. For the first time since 2016, the Eagles are 2-0. For the past 5 seasons, we've had this curse in week two. We just couldn't win these week two games. There was just something about week two we could just not get over that hump to reach 2-0. 2017, we lost at Kansas City week two. In 2018, we lost at Tampa Bay in week two. 2019, we lost at Atlanta in week two, the Nelson Aguilar drop game. 2020, we lost against the Rams at home in week two. And then last season, we lost to the 49ers at home in week two. But for the first time in 6 years, for the first time since 2016, the Eagles are 2-0. The Eagles destroyed the Minnesota Vikings 24-7 at Lincoln Financial Field. This was our first home opener win since 2019. It was our first win over Kirk Cousins since 2017. Our first win over the Vikings since the 38-7 game, the NFC Championship. Just a fantastic night to be an Eagles fan. So before I get into the numerous positives of this game, I'm going to start with the few negatives that I saw. There was a little negatives, but it was tremendously outweighed by the positives. Firstly, the penalties early on in this game, we were getting penalized a lot, like way too much, like almost reminded me of the early 2021 Eagles that were getting penalized every game. Like we got called for, I believe, 3 illegal receiver, like ineligible receiver downfield penalties. I kept saying like again. How many times are we going to get called for the same penalty, the same one? Now, some of those penalties were bullcrap, like the offensive pass interference against Dallas Goedert. That was a horrible call. That was such a trash call, and we were letting the refs here. I was at that game yesterday. The link was electric. But that offensive pass interference call against Dallas Goedert, that was a bunch of horse spit. Like, dude, that was not offensive PI. Come on, man. Like, Dallas Goedert gets called for some of the worst offensive pass interference penalties. These offensive PI calls against Dallas Goedert, they're just awful. Like that game a few years ago, that Cowboys game in 2018, Dallas Goedert took a helmet hit on this one play, took a helmet hit from the Cowboys defender, lost his helmet, and then he still ran for a long touchdown. It gets wiped out because of a pass interference penalty against Goddard. They completely ignored the helmet hit. Like, don't even get me started on that game. The freaking fumble at the beginning on the opening kickoff, that offensive pass interference penalty against Goddard, just, well, I'm not going to talk about that, but about this game. So the penalties, we need to clean that up a little bit. There was a face mask penalty on one of the offensive linemen. That was a good call. And the other thing I want to talk about, the pass rush. Early on, I thought that we were still struggling to get to the quarterback. I thought that we were struggling to get pressure on Kirk Cousins. That was my main problem last week, besides the run defense, the pass rush. It got better as the game went on. We did start to pressure Cousins more. But early on, it was looking kind of ineffective. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I was terrified about this game. I'm going to be honest. I wasn't one of those guys saying that, oh, we're going to destroy the Vikings. I'm not going to lie to you guys. This game, it terrified me because after our defense looked the way it did against the Detroit Lions, I didn't know what we were going to do in this game. I didn't know how we were going to contain Justin Jefferson. I didn't know how we were going to contain Dalvin Cook. But Jonathan Gannon, and I am a huge Jonathan Gannon critic, I have always been one to express my displeasure with his defensive schemes, but I got to give credit where credit's due. Jonathan Gannon did a great job with his defensive scheme yesterday. He did a great job. Dalvin Cook was a complete non-factor. I don't remember Dalvin Cook breaking off a big run like a single time. It's like every time he got the ball, we tattooed him. Like the Eagles defenders were on Dalvin Cook like white on rice. Like they just did not. They weren't able to run the ball on us. They weren't able to run the ball. And then Justin Jefferson, all that crap. All for the past 2 seasons. We've had to hear all this garbage about how, oh, the Eagles took Jalen Reagar over Justin Jefferson. Oh, I'm Justin Jefferson. I'm glad to be in Minnesota. I'm glad that Philly didn't draft me. And then, what did you do yesterday, Justin Jefferson? Did you have any touchdowns, Justin Jefferson? Did you break 50 yards? Did he even get 50 yards? Complete non-factor. This defense yesterday, Gannon, he did an amazing job. You really got to give it to Jonathan Gannon. Darius Slay was owning Justin Jefferson. 2 interceptions by Darius Slay yesterday. Both of those passes were targeted for Justin Jefferson, and Darius Slay intercepted both of them. Both of those passes. In fact, Darius Slay could have had like legit 4 interceptions in this game. I saw him drop one, and then there was another interception where he didn't get there in time. But if he was a little faster on that play, that would have been an interception too. Darius Slay was arguably the best player of the game, but I'll get to the person that has the other case to make that claim. But the defense yesterday was suffocating. Avonte Maddox, he had another interception against Adam Thielen, I believe. Adam Thielen just wasn't a factor in this game. I don't think he had a single catch in the fourth quarter. And then that catch, it came basically in garbage time when the Eagles are dominating a game and basically the Vikings had no chance to win. So that one pass that was intended for him, Avonte Maddox intercepted it. The defense, I am very impressed with this defense because I did not expect this at all. I thought that it was going to be a high scoring game. I thought it was going to be something like 24, 27, 31 to 35. Like I thought that this was going to be a back and forth shootout, but the Eagles defense, they pleasantly surprised me. Jonathan Gannon, I will give you your props. I'm not a big fan of your scheme. I'm not really a big fan of what you've done up to this point, but yesterday, when we're only talking about what happened yesterday, you did a good job. You did a good job, Gannon. And then speaking of the Vikings offense, there was another guy by the name of Jalen Reagar. You know, the guy that was saying how revenge was on his mind during his return to Philly, how he was set on getting revenge against the Eagles. So I was at this game. I mentioned that earlier. Every time he touched the field, we booed the crap out of Reagar. We booed the crap out of him. It was beautiful. We were just booing that man to hell and back. And then he actually starts taunting the crowd by going like this, like he wants more animosity from the crowd. And then he has the nerve to get stopped on a punt return. He only got 1 yard. He only got 1 yard after taunting the crowd on that punt return. Jalen Reagar, so he had two targets. When I'm talking about his role as a wide receiver, he had 2 targets, 1 drop. That's the Reagar that we all know and love. Yeah, remember that, Reagar? Remember your dropping problem? Remember how you dropped those 2 touchdowns against the New York Giants? So he had 2 targets, 1 drop. He had 1 catch for 7 yards. Oh my God, Reagar. Oh, Reagar. You really killed us there, buddy. You got your revenge all right. You really just smoked the Eagles in your return to Philadelphia. You burned us so badly. Oh my God. The second-degree burns on the Eagles defense. Oh my God. Somebody call a doctor. Somebody call a doctor. We got burned by Jalen Reagar. He only had 7 yards on the catch. Oh no. Oh no. And then I think as there was one play where they actually gave him the ball on a rushing attempt. He had like 17 yards. But 17 plus 7, that is 25 yards. Oh my God. Reagar had 25 yards. That's so bad. Oh, he really put a bruising on the Eagles. He really showed us that we shouldn't have traded him. Oh no. Uh, just the Vikings, they stink. Oh, look at me. I'm a Viking. I don't got any Super Bowl rings. Oh, look, a field goal to beat the Atlanta Falcons and to go to the Super Bowl with this 15-1 team with one of the best offenses in NFL history, the 1998 Vikings. Randall Cunningham, who's still my boy, Randy Moss, Chris Carter, a field goal to beat the Vikings and go to the Super Bowl. And let's talk about the offense. Jalen Hurts, this might have been the best performance of his entire career. It might have been the best. Like, we remember the Cardinals game. He played as a rookie against the Cardinals. That was a really good game. Last year, his game against the Denver Broncos, I thought was really good. The Chargers game, the second Washington game. Actually, he played pretty good against Washington twice last year. But this game yesterday, he was 26 for 31. He failed to complete just 5 passes. 26 of 31. He had 3 total touchdowns. 2 of them were rushing touchdowns. And then the other one was actually, let me Let me rephrase that actually, because I've explained this on Facebook, but I actually got Facebook banned during this game because during the touchdown play to Quez Watkins, that long touchdown he threw to Quez Watkins, I made a post saying the B word, BOMB, to Quez Watkins, let's go, and I got banned for that. So I'm banned for 6 days. 6 days for that. That is lunacy. But yeah, so Jalen Jalen Hurts, he threw that dime, that deep pass to Quez Watkins, delinquent nuts. Jalen Hurts, he was just on fire yesterday. See, I don't know what the Vikings were thinking because last week the Detroit Lions, they were blitzing Hurts, like they were sending heavy pressure after Jalen Hurts, and he escaped the most of that by escaping with his legs. But the fact of the matter is, the Lions kind of showed you how you can really put a hamper on Jalen Hurts. And the Vikings, they really didn't send any heat after Hurts at all. They were just in zone coverage most of the game, and then Jalen Hurts was dicing them up, making throw after throw to Dallas Goedert, to Quez Watkins, to A.J. Brown, to Devontae Smith. Speaking of Devontae Smith, so a lot of people were making a big deal that Devontae Smith had no catches last week against the Lions. I mean, he did have one catch on the sidelines, but it got negated by an offensive penalty. This game, Devontae Smith was a huge factor. He had over 60 yards receiving. He had a few really clutch catches right in the middle. See, I knew that was overblown. Like, I'm not going to freak out about Devontae Smith having no catches for one game. I mean, if it's a trend of something like that, then I can understand. But one game, like, come on, people, don't overreact like that. And Miles Sanders ran the ball very well. Boston Scott had a few big runs. It was just an amazing offensive performance. Now, Jalen Hurts did have one interception. I hate that that's going to go on his stat sheet because the ball actually bounced off of Kenneth Gainwell's hands, I believe. So that interception really wasn't his fault. But Jalen Hurts, 26 of 31, 333 total yards, and 3 touchdowns. I don't care about that interception. That interception was fluky. Just like the one last year, the Washington game I went to last year on Tuesday night. Hurts had a pass to Goddard. Goddard dropped it, and then the ball bounced off his heel right into the Washington player's hands. That was the flukiest interception I've ever seen in my entire life. So yeah, this game yesterday, it was just a sight to behold. And we were doing the Skull chant too. We were just really just oh man, I really dislike the Vikings. I do. Like ever since that draft video where they were laughing at us after we took Jalen Reagar, like oh the animosity I have for Minnesota. And you know what? Go ahead, you can have Justin Jefferson. You can have Jalen Reagar because what did they do for you last night? What did they do for you last night? Huh? What did they do for you last night? You guys got smoked. You guys got smoked, plain and simple. We beat you, and this was probably this was the most like how could I say this? This game, it was one of the best wins I've seen for us in quite a few years. Like this was an offense that shredded the Green Bay Packers last week. Justin Jefferson and Kirk Cousins, they were on fire last week against the Green Bay Packers. I think Justin Jefferson had like 180 yards or something, 2 touchdowns. And then this game, we shut down Justin Jefferson. Darius Slay owned Justin Jefferson. He owned him. He owned Justin Jefferson. We shut down Dalvin Cook. I was really concerned about the run defense after what DeAndre Swift did to us last week. We shut him down too. Like, and Kirk Cousins, I mentioned this before. Kirk Cousins has made a living off beating the Eagles. He heading into this game, Kirk Cousins was 6-3 against the Eagles. He had 21 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. He had 2,000. He had over 2,700 passing yards. He had a QBR of 104.9. Kirk Cousins, he routinely just tormented our defense. And then yesterday, Kirk Cousins was awful. Kirk Cousins looked atrocious yesterday. That was one of the worst games I've ever seen Kirk Cousins play. He is now 2-10 on Monday Night Football. Like, and it was just I did not expect Kirk Cousins to look that bad because I'm so used to him looking like Joe Montana against us. I'm so used to him looking like Peyton Manning whenever he plays the Philadelphia Eagles. This game was something else. It really was. And it was just, it meant so much to me to be there, to see us just smoke these Minnesota Vikings, to just boo Jalen Reagar every time he touched the field, to see him get destroyed on that 1-yard punt return, to see Darius Slay own Justin Jefferson and intercept Kirk Cousins twice when he was looking for Jefferson. It was really heartwarming. And I don't have to pour 3 bottles of purple Fanta soda on myself. I made a bet before this game. Well, not a bet, but I made a declaration saying if the Eagles lose this game, this was back in August, if the Eagles lose this game, I would pour 3 bottles of purple Fanta soda on myself. And needless to say, I'm a dry man today. I'm not sticky and covered in soda. So, and now next week, we go down to that there FedEx Field to take on the Washington Commodes and a certain guy by the name of Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz, we're coming after you, buddy. We're coming after you. You were once our hero. You were once our future. You were once our savior. But those days are long gone, my friend. And next week, you will feel the pain. You will feel the pain at FedEx Field. The Philadelphia Eagles, we're coming for you, Carson Wentz. We're coming for you. So take care, everybody, and go Birds. 2-0, baby.